I'm honored to be here. Very honored to be here. hmm I'm here. It's true. I'm married though. I have 2 children. I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to moderate this panel. I wanted to moderate, not talk today, and the reason why is because I read medicine in school. I suffered to be a creative because my father was like, "You left medicine to go and do punk." They didn't get it. You understand? So I want to moderate this session. But can we all just stand up? Everybody just 1 minute. It's game over. So I'm not going to use the documents to introduce them. I'm going to introduce them as I know them. The first person I want to introduce is Dapo. Make some noise for Dapo, but don't sit Dapo, sit down. Dapo used to work for Chuck City. Make some noise. All these CK, you know CK? All these CK, who was again? CK, Black Bones. Now these guys, oh. But Dapo, did you eat money from them? No. Kai, oh boy, legals. Dapo built Thriller. Do you know Thriller? For a bit. And right now, Dapo is the partnership lead of YouTube. Music, and then he dabbles into movies. So today we're going to roast Dapo. Why is Mr. Beast making money and I'm not making money, Dapo? Put your hands together for Dapo. DAPO. Put your hands together for Dapo. Today, I'm going to ask you questions on platform. Please, you may sit. Get ready. There. Anyway, I'm hitting you today. The next person is Abuja's finest. The only guy that wears shades in the house. He comes in with a swag. On his Instagram handle, he's always doing like this. Superman. Put your hands together for, I won't say his name, but I have known Eddie for at least 12 years. At least 12 years. And when I was in MTV, this guy was trying to bring, you guys, make some noise for Eddie Madaki. There are things listen, let me give an example. We're doing a tour with the band like 12 years ago. We didn't put Abuja in the plan. It was Lagos, South Africa. Eddie Madaki brought the band here years ago. There are people that they did stuff underground for the economy, for the creative space. So put your hands together for the lifestyle king, the influencer, fine boy, but he's married. Ladies, he's married. He's taken. The incredible Eddie Madaki. Eddie, please. Stop playing my song. Please, play more. I'm joking. Play it more. Let's blow. And the final guy I want to introduce, most people don't know that this guy is more hardworking than, let me say what his name. It's a lie. Salami, shut up. Shut up there. Please, don't go say I love you, sir. But Chris, shut up. Don't go say I love you. You are the hardworking guy. Please. But Bizzle, I've known Bizzle for, listen guys. Bizzle has done work for Mo Hits. He did work for Storm Records. Bro, Storm Records, where there was no records, he was there. He was storming the storm in the waters. Lebo Shoko Sorema. Yay! Just put a presence there. That's the guy. The storm is over. Inaugurals for the 30 BG gang, Davido's inaugural, like his foundation, Bizzle. Right now, he co-owns The Plug. Bizzle lives in the UK, in the US, and comes here to urinate. In Nigeria. Just God when. Also, go save money. Goes there. He can just come here. Take a lick. Please put your hands together. Now, let me say this. This panel is incredible because of their personal experiences. Put your hands together for the Osikoya himself. Bizzle! Okay, so straight to it because we don't have time. So I'm going to go like this first. And my first question, Bizzle, is that in the content entertainment industry, there is no industry, and that's the truth. There's no industry. We are the ones that are crafting the industry. In companies in America, in the US, the government, they help industry. Am I correct? But here we had to fight for it. All of us had to fight for it. So I'm going around first, then we continue. In your journey to becoming who you are right now, name one thing and one person that pulled you up. One experience and one person that pulled you up.
I can't lie, to be honest. I can't mention only one person.
Okay.
Like, I have to mention two people.
Okay.
And the reason why I say two people is because these two people are very, very influential in my journey and me, coming up in the industry. First, shout out to Biasika, because he convinced me to move back to Nigeria and offered me a job at Storm Records as far back as 2008. And, I came to Nigeria straight, and, he offered me a salary of like 70, 80K a month back then. And I was like, everybody thought like, how are you doing this in the entertainment industry, making this much money, and why is Obi Asika paying you this much? But Obi, for him, he saw value in what I did, and for him, it was like, I don't just see you as somebody that's working just on this particular thing. There's so many things you're doing across different spaces, and you deserve, to be paid well so you can actually do what you're doing. And then the second person will be Don Jazzy, because from Don Jazzy, he made me to, actually pick what I actually do right now in entertainment, is being an A&R. From being in the studio with him working and seeing how he made records and said, I think this record will work well for the band. This record will work well for One Day. This record will work well. I remember the very crazy experience when he made a record on that G for Sauce Kid. He made that record. He wrote the hook, everything. And then he just said, oh, man, now Sauce Kid get this record, man. We call Sauce. Like Sauce Kid, I can't remember where he was. He came from wherever. He ran to the studio because he had been begging Jazzy for, to work with Jazzy for a long time. He used to hang out with us, come to the Mohit's villa just to chill. And like every day, I always ask Jazzy, when you go put me for song? When you go put me for song? And then this day came. Like Sinzu came from wherever he was. Like took him like 2 hours, got to the studio. He recorded the record. Boom. That same night, we went to test the record at the club, Insomnia. I can never forget. And everyone went crazy. So for me, like those two people, Obi Asika and Don Jazzy, they've been very influential to me in my career, and I'm very, happy for them because of them, I'm where I am now.
Eddie, quickly. You clap at the end. Hold your clap. Just hold it.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Let me take my glasses off since you called me out earlier. Abuja, if you're creative and you're excited about TMCon, I need to hear make some noise. Make some noise! That's how you do it. That's my people right there.
We will see at the end now.
So,
two people.
Two people. Thanks for leading with that, because there've been a lot of door openers and destiny helpers. But one is actually family. My immediate younger brother, Andy Madaki. Unfortunately, he's not here at the moment. So, like Foy said earlier, we struggle to be creatives. I'm an architect by training. And the only reason I studied architecture is because I was a creative. I was always drawing, art, painting, stage, everything from primary school through to secondary school. But as the firstborn son of a Benue man in Nigeria, who born you going to study industrial design or fine art? So I had to do a course that I'll still draw and have that creative expression. But throughout that journey, I was always doing events, promotions. And my immediate younger brother had a passion for the same thing. So he would apply for all these great shows. He applied for Big Brother Nigeria. He applied for Ultimate Search. And I wouldn't know. And he would apply for himself and apply for me. So the very first Big Brother Nigeria, I got called for it, made it to the finals, made it to medicals. I couldn't go in because I was in the University of Jos, and we had something called jury, which is your last defense to graduate from architecture. Time to go into the house, and jury, same day. I'm alive today because I didn't go to Big Brother house, because if I had gone and forfeited that degree, that's a different story. Secondly, my mentor, my big brother. In fact, for a long time, people thought we were blood related. Aldo Mekuri. Please, can we make some noise for Aldo Mekuri? Abuja's very own oligarch of this thing of ours, right? So I'm sure we'll talk about this. I had the privilege to intern, undergo pupillage, work at Chocolate City for a significant number of years, pro bono. And it's because I believe strongly that before you earn, you have to learn, you have to serve. And Aldo took me under his wing, gave me a lot of opportunities. I worked on MTV-based Mamas. I did the Femi Kuti show in Abuja as well. A lot of great things, a lot of great platforms. But before I got to that point, the very first time I emptied an event, I was serving in the bank, and Aldo called me, Eddie, where are you there? I was like, I'm an XY. He says, okay, I need you to come to this venue. And as soon as I walked in with my work clothes, suits and everything, he put a mic in my hand. Oh, yeah, go and host. I had never done that. Beyond that, I have hosted countless panels, weddings, events, concerts, great door opener. I was on one of the first groundbreaking drama series that was shot in Abuja, Waiting Day. It was produced by the BBC World Service Trust, Society for Family Health. And it was the same thing. Minding my own business. Big bro called me, can you act? Yes. Can you cry on demand? I said, I can wail. He said, yeah, show up. Show up here. And I went on for the audition. It was literally a walk in the park. I had never done any acting professionally. Shot for 2 years. Our director of photography was the director of photography on the Titanic. It was an incredible experience. Worked with some of the finest professionals that still gives me relevance and access to this day. So these two people, out of many, are ones that I always acknowledge and celebrate. So yeah, those will be my two.
Daps. And the reason why I started with this is because for you to craft the future, you must respect the past. You must. Daps, two people. Jot something.
Just it down.
Two things. Two people.
Two people. Man, it's hard to pull two people out because there's so many shout outs I need to give. I think the first person, for the purposes of this panel, the first person I'll mention is MI.
Of course, and I've slapped you.
No,
I've
you have
beat
to
you.
mention him. But even before I talk about what M did for me, I have to shout out to Aldo's brother, Mo. Mo was the one. So part of my story is that how I even got into the music industry is I was signed to Chocolate City as a producer by M. But Mo was the one who sent my music to M. So everywhere, until today, I've never met Mo in person. But such a huge part of my story. So I always have to shout out to Mo. But M heard my music, invited me, had a meeting, meetings upon meetings, got signed, the whole shebang, became a producer for Chocolate City. And then towards the end of my first producer contract, I'd been doing some other things, and I have to shout out to Reinhard as well, the producer, because Reinhard was the first person that saw what I was doing and said, I think you'd be a good A&R me. Because it was just my friend, and I was just helping him do stuff. And he was like, why don't you just officially be my A&R? And it was from there, the Chocolate City team saw what I was doing and asked me and said, look, we need A&Rs next year. Would you like to be an A&R? And I remember I spoke to Jude, to M, and he encouraged me. I was like, yeah, you should do it. Like, I think you can do it. And he's always, like, through that period, he was always my mentor, the one to always say. I remember when I first became an A&R, I was so scared because I was like, yo, artists' lives are in my hands. Like, their careers are in my hands. If I fuck it up, I fucked up not just my life. But
sorry, he didn't cost.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
If I screw it up, I screw up not just my life, but their lives as well. And that has cascading effects, their families, blah, blah, blah. So I was really freaking out. And I'll never forget, we're doing a writing camp in 1004 in Lagos. And I had organized this camp specifically for CK and Black Bones. So we had all these artists there that came for the camp. And Jude had given this cool, because he does all these motivational things, right? He had given this motivational speech. And then I pulled him to the side and I was like, Jude, man, I'm scared as shit, man. And he said, yeah, you should be. Yeah. And I looked at him, I was like, bro, that's not what I'm trying to hear. He said, no, I know that's not what you're trying to hear, but you should be. You should be scared, because if you're not, then you go in with a chip on your shoulder and you screw everything up. So the fact that you're scared means that you realize the gravity of the position you're in, right? And he told me, and he said, you need to be scared and you need to fail. And then that was the other thing he said. He said, you need to fail. And I was like, he said, yeah, you need to fail, and you need to fail quick. Because then you fail, you know what you've done, and then you move on and you build on it. And so I have to give a massive shout out to Jude, because that's not even the end of it. There's still, other things. And
Second
then
person.
the second person I would have to say is, I don't know if, do you guys know Naija Boys? I don't think anybody, you know Naija Boys, the O and Teju that used to do those parodies. They were probably our first ever Nigerian skit makers on YouTube at the time. So when I was in college, I was in America. We were in the same city, in Portland, in Oregon. And we used to go to the same Redeemed church. I used to play keys and I used to play drums as well. So when, I majorly played keys, but when the drummer wasn't around, I'd play drums and, back and forth. And Tej, one of the Naija boys, said to me one day, he said, I think he had just come back from Nigeria. He came to visit Nigeria and just come back to the US. And that Sunday I played drums in church, but he didn't know I could play drums. So I finished playing the drums, I came up, we were hanging out, and he was like, yo, bro, I didn't know you could play drums, man, that's mad. You can play keys, you can play drums, you can play trumpets, you can play guitar, you can do these things. So you'll be a great producer. I was like, bro, I was studying architecture.
Are you a failure?
You are a failure.
You can never make it.
So Ted said, yo, you'll be a good producer. We're looking for producers. They wanted to do original stuff at the time. And so I was like, Ted, like, I beg. He was like, no, for real. Like, think about it. Knock the drums, knock the keys. That's where we start. And literally, that's how my journey in music started. And so I have to shout out to Naija Boys because I produced a couple. None ever came out, though. But like, that started me on the journey of like, you can do music.
Guys, this is so key because most creatives here don't know that. They think it's like by CV.
No.
It's not by CV, guys. Sometimes somebody just opens the door for you. Now, my next question, I'm going to start from you.
Okay.
But I'll lay the foundation. All rhythms have come. In your time, the band didn't have to do all rhythms. There was no YouTube. There was Alaba. Now they are all rhythms. YouTube is the biggest platform in the world.
We try.
But we're not making that money.
Somebody is.
No. My question is, but be short with it. Is it harder to blow then than now? Or is it better now?
From just looking at where we are in the world today, it's easier now. Just because we have so much more access to the internet.
But people are not blowing.
Giving context, if you look at the context of it, people are blowing, right? Especially for us in this part of the world, we've opened up, the internet has opened us up to the rest of the world. So you have more people blowing. But I think I think maybe why you're thinking that we're not blowing is you look at the amount of people blowing versus the amount of the rest of us. There's 200 and something million of us. All of us cannot blow, at least not on YouTube.
So pause. So that means, tell them that means, did you hear what I said, the YouTube guy? That what? Say it.
And then there's 200 and something million of us. All of us cannot blow on YouTube.
So
some
if
of
you
us
don't
will be
blow,
architects. Some of us, the architecture that me and Eddie left, somebody will pick it up, and that's where you blow, right? So, but I mean, obviously, those of us are in here are really in that lane. I'm assuming. So, I think it's the education, and the more we know about it, the more we know how to do it, which is why we have things like TMCon, right? The more we know how to do those things, the more people we can actually see blow.
Bizzle, you've worked with different artists, and yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, Excel, Excel, co-founder, and I was trying to I said, which artist in that generation, P Square, D'banj, Two-Face, if they were in this era, would they be as big as Davido, or do you just think Davido is a hard worker? And the reason I'm saying is because of the hard work of platform. You are always putting content. That guy shoots like 3 videos a day. He's going for tours. For the young creatives, do you think it's for Davido? Is it talent? Is it hard work? Just give us a round. Yesterday, he backed 3 nominees and he said, delay is not denial. And I was like, wow, this guy is like a pastor. I was inspired. I said, hallelujah. Amen. So just speak about the part for hard work and that era and this era.
To be honest, back then, I feel it was easier to blow than now. And because back then, all you needed to do was pay Alaba, pay radio. Once you pay Alaba and they put it on like 500 mixtapes, The mixtapes used to go around Nigeria, go to Benin, go to Togo, boom, you blow. Easy. It was very easy to blow artists back then. I remember I was Cass. I was his first manager. Tiwa Savage, I was her first manager. And it was so easy to blow them. Like, we didn't have to do too much work. Now where you have to pay influencer, you have to pay radio, pay TV, pay DJ,
stream farms.
Agriculture.
Musical
agriculture. I mean, now you have to create content. You can't, like, I currently work, I was telling them, there's an artist I'm currently working with now. I'm developing him. His name is Shine TTW. He posts content every day, and the song still never blew.
Shine TTW, he has a song called Aliko. Amazing song. You guys have to listen.
Please, you pay for that avatar.
And this is not even just doing. This is me just loving the song.
No, but like, he posts content every day since the song dropped. If you go on his TikTok, his Instagram, his YouTube shorts, you see day 35. This is my new content till my song blows up, and that's so much dedication. I mean, I can tell you that we spent at least $18,000 pushing the song, and it's still, I'm sure, like, maybe one person might say they have heard it here. But then, Baba, I spent 5 million naira back then. The whole Nigeria knows your music. Even with less than 5 million, say, spend 1 million back. How much was Alaba then? You give Alaba DJ 450. You know, by the time you give radio stations 50K, your music is everywhere. So it's like, now it's very, very hard.
And I think so too. And my reason was data. I hear that every day Spotify collects 1.2 million new songs. 1.2 million new songs. 1.2 million new songs. Now my question I'm going to come to you, but my question for you is, for these young artists, these young creators, because you talk for YouTube and across platforms, it's like playlisting now can make or mar you. If you're not on playlist, you might not be heard. 1.2 million songs. Even, you understand, only Adeboye.
He released songs too.
He released songs now.
He released songs.
So my question is, with the enormous content, visuals on YouTube, all that, what should creatives look for? Should we do more hashtags? Should we do more? How can we make the algorithm help us better?
So, from that point of view, to your point, yes, it is harder to blow now. It's just, so to answer the question, it kind of depends, right? There's no one way, and we were talking about this yesterday, that's like, there's no one formula. You can do the exact same thing that David did, like Davido did, and it still won't work. So there's no one, there's so many things that are like, that contribute. Time and chance is such a big thing, in my opinion, is that if the thing that happened, so CK's Love Wanting blowing, we released Love Wanting in 2019. I think somebody mentioned. We released Love Wanting, the original Love Wanting was like August 2019. The remix was February 14, Valentine's Day 2020. If there were certain things that happened that if we had released that song, the remix, in 2019, CK will not be where he is today. Because those things needed to happen at that time. So there's also that power of like time and chance. So for instance, one of the examples I'll give you, CK for example, is that during lockdown, Winnie Harlow somehow got a hold of that song and played it on her Instagram Live. Then Diddy used to do that Instagram Live thing with his sons, with his kids. And Winnie Harlow called in and they asked her, what song should we play? And she said, play CK Love Wanting, right? But without lockdown, that whole sequence did not happen, right? So if that song was released in 2019 or 2021, it's not happening.
But Omale was locked down,
right? Omale
was locked down.
Right?
Was locked down. Yeah.
You get me? So I feel like we can give you this is what you need to do. This because I was talking to AZ Cohen of 300, just a few years after they discovered Post Malone. And I was asking him then, because I was a young guy, I was a new A&R. So how'd you do it? Blah, blah, blah. And he was like, look, what you have to understand is that as an A&R, as a label exec, you have to think about it. He gave me this analogy of a car, right? You're in the car. As the A&R or the exec, you are the GPS. You're sitting in the passenger seat, but the artist is the driver of that car. The car is their career and their music, right, and their product. You're the one telling them, based on my experience, and based on, because I've done this thing before, this is where we should go. We should go straight, make a right, make a left, and then we get to where we're going. But then the artist, ideally, should be the person saying, you know what, this is my area. This is my zone. This is where I live. This is my hood. So I know you're saying that if we go right, go straight, go left, we'll get to where we're going. But there's construction on if you turn right. So if we go straight, we can cut through, make a left, pass one corral, and we'll come out in front. And as an A&R, it's your job to say, you know what, again, based on my experience, this is what I say, but you come to some compromise. Because if you insist and say, no, this is the way to do it, again, there's no set rule, there's no set way to do these things. So if you insist and say, there's blah, 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 you go there and you get into construction, you're stuck there for the next 3 hours before you get to where you're going. Versus going the way the artist had said, based on the fact that they know their audience, they know their product, they know their music. And this is why you have to have a good artist. You can't just pick up any artist and say you want to start working with them, right? And so I think it's important to look at what people are doing and try to adapt that to your situation. It's not just because Davido posted 5 YouTube shorts every day does not mean that the same thing works for you. Maybe you need to post 10. Maybe you need to post 2. Who knows? But you need to look at that versus what you're doing. So I think there's a lot of things that are going to...
I'm going to come back to you about data.
Sure.
But I'm going to ask Eddie now. Eddie, the rise of influencers is a real thing. And do you know why it's a real thing, influencers? Because of the content load. People now look for people to guide them. That's why there's influencers. Now, Eddie, you've become an influencer. Abuja number 1, but people have grown now. It's not the best now. Black is an influencer now.
In the stratosphere, it's on a different level.
And I have to bring Eddie down. I can't make him see now. See his shoulders already high. It's the chair. Now my question for you, Eddie, is that was there a format or you stumbled upon it? Just be real.
That's a very, very interesting question. So let me see if I can craft this in a very clear term. So my journey to become an influencer started in 2012. Before then, I was invested, and still I'm invested in 2 companies, iBlend, that you know very well, and Eddie NPR. And Bizzle and Co were the door openers on Twitter. And I went on Twitter. When they would retweet, I would put RT before my tweet, then type the tweet. I didn't even know how to use it, at the time. That's like old school OG Twitter. But I got on Instagram, thanks to our understanding of spatial spaces and, art and all that, not to architecture. I think I used Instagram pretty well. I was already fully invested in marketing communication, so I understood, the art of communicating creatively to really engage your audience. So what happened was we had all these brands. We were collaborating with agencies. So there are ad agencies in Lagos, record labels, producers, events. If they want to activate up country, they get to the big briefs. At this time, we're still fighting with corporates and brand managers in Abuja to invest in experiences here. They'll say, oh, does anything happen in Abuja? Everybody's carrying AKs on the road. You guys cannot fill a hall with 200 people. But today, the story is different. So at the time, our bread and butter was representing agencies up countries to activate their brands and build their brands. And I would have fun with it on my Instagram platform. It now got to a point that the agencies, just on the influencer level, like, you know what, we don't want to work with anybody else. We want you. And that will be a disservice to the tribe that I was building. I feel like in building a career, building a business, if you don't grow out of a certain space to create oxygen for those that come below you, so the service and your business will not grow. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to mortgage that account to my team. And we rebranded it as Eddie NPR. I said, for me, separately, whatever I'm going to do, you have to invest in so on. So I put a price point that was ridiculously high. And interestingly, they were paying. But now, the business had a separate identity and delivered on certain services, and Eddie Madaki as a brand, could now endorse products. Now, this tipping point came in 2012. I don't know what catalyzed it, but before then, traditional marketing, whether it's music, film, or, other spaces, once you do the key ATL, TV adverts, billboards, radio, you're good to go. There's one Egbo in this town, I don't want to call his name, but he resented me because we're using BB Messenger and Facebook to sell out halls and do some crazy things in this town. Then he said, Eddie, this is your show. I never see billboard everywhere. I never hear for Rape Power, all the silly, silly things. Like, how are you? He really, really couldn't understand it. So we really leaned into digital. And what happened then was every human being, once marketing feels like marketing, we are, designed to rebuff and push it back. But once it's authenticated by somebody that we know, love, respect, or aspire to, even hate, will pay more attention. That's just the human condition. That's why we grow in communities. That's why we thrive in partnerships and so on and so forth. And that's where influencing, kind of like peaked. And I realized that all the great campaigns and copyrights we're building and all that was not even cutting it as much as just having the right people speak and endorse the product. So I delved into it. I had opportunities that took me out of this region, did a lot of great campaigns nationwide. The very next step, which I just want to add, was now looking at other talents here because it was too much load. Today you want me to promote music. Next tomorrow you want me to promote makeup. The other day is a restaurant. Who am I? What am I speaking to? What is real to me? I'm not just, a hanger or a human billboard. So I wanted my own identity and I wanted a very, very clear brand. So I started talking to individuals that had carved a niche for themselves in makeup, in fashion design, in music, automobile. And we were one of the first people to start booking agents and talents up country for other brands. That's what we need to look at.
The lesson here is forge your path, but when it comes, pivot well. Bizzle, I want you to be very sincere with them. I'm asking you a hard question. Be sincere. There are people here who they say God told them to start record label. I know, I've seen them already. I've seen you. There's 2 there. There's 4 there. Even Chris, you want to, don't do it. Chris, don't do it. Bizzle, you said you spent $18,000 on this guy and Chris never blow. I never hear anything. Honestly, Aliko, I never hear Ali. What is the future? And just hit them hard. What is the future of the music ecosystem? And what should people be doing right now, realistically? Because most of us here don't have $100,000 to burn. Even Naira. I was farming before, but I just thought about it. What should these young guys just do? The future of music ecosystem.
Okay, for me, I feel like the future is going to come back to what is actually happening now, which is the traditional A&R, where A&Rs are looking to develop talent and not just waiting to see what's popping on the charts, what's popping on Instagram, or what's popping on TikTok to sign. And I'll tell you that for free because they've realized. So last year, there was a big bidding war for an artist in Nigeria. His name is Phils. He had a song, Finesse. And there was a huge bidding war. I was involved in it. It was in the same building that there was bidding war between different labels. So it was Universal, it was Warner, and it was Sony. I went with him to the meeting. I remember clearly it was a Whiskey show. I went with him to the meeting with the Def Jam guys. They flew Phils and his manager. They flew them from Nigeria just because they wanted to sign him. They flew him to London for the day of the Whiskey show in London. Went there and everything, blah, blah, blah. He didn't end up signing with them, but he got free ticket to come to London. On the trip in London, the guys from Atlantic reached out. They reached out through me. I helped them set up the deal. The deal was practically done. I went to the Atlantic office. We were there. We were ready to celebrate the deal. We had champagne, pizza, everything, waiting for them. I was in the office. I kept texting his manager, Dorigos. How far, man? What's good? What's going on? I'll text the lawyer, Kelvin, how far? What's good, man? Everybody's here waiting to celebrate. We're waiting for you guys. It's like, we're coming. 11:59 p.m., we're coming. 11:45 p.m., a same label under Warner, which is Warner Records, where he is now. Warner Records. Steve Carless and and Max Lusada. We go on a call, and Max Lusada is Oga of 1 hour in the same level of fighting. We go on a call, and it's like, yeah, I know Atlantic is there and everything, but I really want him to be a Warner. Carlos has promised, blah blah blah. You've seen what we did with CK. I know Bizzle, you work with us closely on CK. You've seen what we did with CK, blah blah blah. Man, how do I tell these people? Because I'm in Atlantic's office. At Atlantic is
there's pizza, there's
Larry,
wine,
everybody, there's food, everything waiting for them. And then the person I felt bad for the most was Terry, the A&R from Atlantic that was going to sign the deal because he was already excited. I'm signing a $1.2 million deal. I'm going to get this. I just went back in the room and just told them, man, it's not happening, man. They've gone to Warner. Terry just went in the toilet, just started crying. And everybody, the mood just changed in the office. Everybody was just sad. And for me, it just felt really bad because all these things have been going on. End of the day, what changed was 500K more. It was 500K more that changed the whole deal. But the thing about it is, what I'm just trying to get is that these labels have realized now, we signed Phil's Finesse for over $1 million. And look at it today now. Like, none of Phil's records have been able to get to that level, but they're doing well, but they haven't been able to get to the level of Finesse. So for them, they've realized that, okay, look, maybe this thing isn't working. Maybe we should not just be jumping after what is hot anymore. And let's start, going to Nigeria to see how we can actually look for talent and, sign them from early, help them develop, build them, and grow with them. So which is why, like you see, last week, Atlantic Records UK signed Buju's artist Taves. Taves has only one song out that is not even big, but he's already been signed to Atlantic in the UK. Last week, Maven Records and Warner Chappell Publishing had a recording camp in Lagos to do all these things, because now these people are realizing that 1.2 we paid for Phil's, we could have easily just done to 200K, 100K.
Igbo boy.
100K.
Are you pricing talents?
Sign these people.
Shame on you.
Sign these people for cheap, incubate them and grow them, and then we can now make the $1.2 million instead of giving them $1.2 million early. So for me, it's like the future is really going to be hard. Like, there's no formula to it, like you said. It's really just about artists just, believing in themselves and owning their things and owning their craft properly. Look at Thames. Like, in the early days, Thames, she did her thing. I worked with her in the early days as well. People weren't interested in us. I had to put my foot down because of my level in the industry. I had to put my foot down to get payment for Thames for gigs. We're like, no, we're not doing any free gigs. You have to pay her. We saw value from early, and we demanded that value and demanded that money early for Thames. And we worked on that and built to the level where she was able to work with Jamieson, where Jamieson brought in product placement on her song, Try Me, and that changed her life. So for me, it's like, now it's really going to get harder and harder and harder. We all now have to, as a music person, as a music creative, you have to now think differently. You have to work 100 times harder. There's nothing, all this AI, all this thing, I don't think it's going to change anything to me, I'll be very honest. Till maybe we find that solution where maybe you can put your record in one AI thing and it just automatically sends it to everybody's phone and say, oh, listen to this new song. But till then, I feel like everyone is going to need to just work extra hard. But I'll say to you, stay real to yourself. Don't try and jump on trends or anything. Just stay real. Create whatever you're creating and realize that the right people or the right team will find you at the right time.
Clap for that. My own mentor will say that the universe verifies those who are authentic, gives you a blue tick. Now for us here on YouTube, just give us 3 things we should be doing now for the future, for our future on YouTube. Just 3 things. What should we be doing desperately now to matter on YouTube?
I got molded into 2.
Okay.
The first thing is optimization. Create a YouTube channel, regardless of what kind of content you're doing. Music content, you're an artist, you are creating food content, makeup, whatever it is you're doing, lifestyle, fashion, create a YouTube channel, takes all of 5-10 minutes, and make sure your channel is optimized. Just the same way you will optimize your Instagram, you optimize your Twitter, you optimize your...
Sorry, just what is optimized? Just help us.
So making sure, so you want to make sure that you give, let me say it like this, give yourself the best chance of discovery. So that's how I describe it. You create a YouTube channel, there's a banner up top, there's a place where you can put your profile picture, you can create playlists, you can do all these things, right? But imagine you just create your channel and you don't do anything. In fact, you can choose a YouTube handle. You can create a YouTube handle just like you would create an Instagram, Twitter, whatever handle. But people don't. So they just create a channel. YouTube assigns a random handle with random numbers to them, and they go. Now, if I'm looking for, say your name is John, right? And that's your artist name. That's your celebrity name, John. If I go in there and you're spelling it, say you're spelling yours Jon. If I go on there and I type in, maybe I'm looking for some other John, I'm looking for young John or something, and I type in your John and it takes me to your channel, do you think I'm going to want to stay on that channel and see what else you have? No, because your channel is not optimized. You don't have a profile picture, you don't have anything on your banner, I don't know what you're about. Maybe you have 1 or 2 songs that are just scattered all over the place. Or fashion videos that are scattered all over the place, not really organized. That's where optimization comes in, right? You want it to be organized. You want it to be pleasing to the eye. So if I make a mistake and I get to your channel as John, even though I was looking for young John, you want me to be able to say, oh, let me watch one extra video here because this looks nice. And then now you've gotten a fan. Now I've subscribed to your channel. Now you have extra views from me, and I'm going to come back and keep looking at that. So that's the first thing. I say optimize your channel, right? And there's so many resources you can use for that. If you go to artists.youtube, it gives you everything you need as an artist. And then there's also, I always suggest our support page, which, everybody always says, oh, go FAQs and whatever. But our support page actually literally has information on how to do YouTube. So go to support.google.com and just click on YouTube and find any information you're looking for on there. That's the first thing I would say, optimization. The second thing I would say is, regardless of the kind of content that you're doing on YouTube, you want to do what we call a multi-format strategy or a multi-format approach. Basically, what that means with YouTube is that you want to activate across all the different feature touch points we have within our YouTube system. Now, if you go on YouTube, you see that we have long-form content, we have short-form content, YouTube Shorts, we have playlists, and this is just on YouTube main. I've not even entered YouTube Music, right? There's playlists you can create. There's something we have called the community tab. So many different forms of formats. And what we advise is that we've created these formats and these features for a reason. We've created them because we realize that you do all these things together, they give you the best chance at artist discovery, at content discovery. I keep saying artist because I'm very in the music space, but it applies across all content verticals. It gives you the best chance at discovery and fan engagement. Right? And so that's what I say people need to do. So how many, when you put out your long form video, and then when you think about it, right, all those different features and touch points are things you do across other platforms anyways. So you might as well adapt it as well. Not that you should leave what you're doing elsewhere and come and do them just exclusively on YouTube. We always advise that sometimes you can duplicate your content because there's also, especially in the music space, there's artist fatigue. You tell an artist, after you make a song, make a content clip, post on TikTok, post on Instagram, annoy people on Twitter. Then I'll now say, come and do something on YouTube again. The artist will be fatigued. What time are they going to have to create? So you can always duplicate some of these things across platforms. Obviously, you want to create stuff that's native to each platform, but you can always duplicate across platforms. But multi-format is such a big thing that people need to get on because it gives you the best chance. Because, again, so I'll give you an example. To monetize on YouTube, to monetize your channel, and I know you have a question about that later, but to monetize your YouTube channel, you have to, the metrics you have to have are, one, you have to have at least, now we've reduced it from 1,000, it's now 500.
Imagine.
So
just clap for YouTube.
Thank you.
It's not 500.
We listen, we get the feedback.
Stop being proud.
We get the feedback. You know how many emails I've gotten. But so now the metrics you need at least 500 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Now, watch hours, for those who don't know, are the number of hours that people spend watching your content. So I can, I'll give you a quick analogy and an example. If you put, you've put up a video, a 3-minute video. If I watch that video on YouTube, that means you have 3 minutes of watch time, right? So, but that's still one view because I watched that video at once. Now, if I watch that video twice, that's 2 views and 6 minutes of watch hours. Do you get? So you need 4,000 hours of watch time, or 500 subscribers, and I think is 1 million views on shorts in the last 90 days. And I'm saying this, giving this criteria to explain that because of a multi-format system that we run now, you can achieve it through different means. So you can go through 4,000 hours on your long form video, or 1 million views on your YouTube shorts, right? So if somebody is not doing multi-format, if you are doing, I'm only doing your long form, then you are reliant on that. But what if your short form pops? Case in point, Tyler with Water. That Water song had come out since, but it started to pop on short form, and Tyler was able to get her subscribers up. It's amazing. In the last, when they tell me August to now. In August, I got a notification that, Tyler is about to hit 100,000 subscribers. That was in August. She has had her channel for about 2 years. It took her almost 2 years to get there. Between August and now, she has hit 500,000, right? And a lot of that came through her short form content, right? And the thing about short form content on YouTube as well is that it's also monetizable. So it's so many different formats. So multi-format is really the way, in my opinion, to go. Optimize your channel. Make sure you're doing multi-format. And in my opinion, that's best practices. Those are best practices. There's live you can do. So many different things you can do on YouTube. Your community tab, I think of it like a mini Twitter within YouTube. So you can type things, you can post, you can do polls, you can post pictures, you can repost other people's stuff. Also things like commenting on people's content, responding to comments on your content, just all these different things, creating playlists so you can arrange your playlist. One channel, which I don't know, the spiritual people here, so maybe
yes,
I won't say
Christians
this.
no.
So maybe I won't say this because the channel I always send people to is Nicki Minaj. And Nicki Minaj's YouTube channel is so incredibly optimized.
Why you see I was say it to Nicki Minaj, huh?
Nicki Minaj's channel on YouTube, if you have YouTube right now, you can check it. It's so incredibly optimized. Nicki Minaj has playlists for songs that she's featured on. Not her songs though. Songs that she's featured on. She has playlists for each of her projects, the mixtapes, the albums. She has video playlists. She has audio playlists. Because you can create all these playlists yourself. Like you can create shelves and all these things yourselves. And they're very easy to do. And so all that optimization helps because if I go to her channel, immediately I can see Nicki Minaj features. And I can just click and watch other people's videos. And those videos are being monetized by the people that featured her, not even her.
So, Elijah, can I ask for a favor? But Stu is doing well.
She's doing fantastic.
Can I ask for a favor? Can your community do a Zoom call with him? A Zoom call. So if you are here and you're not in your community, please join the community. But this Zoom call is a question, is a Q&A. There's no...
Sure.
Yeah, please, it's so important. Yeah. And it's time up, so I'm going to do one round and then we close. Bizzle, just be honest, what genre should people focus on? What is authentic? Is it Afro depression? Afro depression now. My life, jaga. Just so Bizzle, see. Bizzle help us. I don't lie.
Afro-Adura.
What should we focus on?
That's what Afro-Adura.
But Elijah, the Psalms, David in the Psalms, is Afro depression and Afro-Adura now. Combined, my soul depressed, my soul. Now. So what should we focus on? Just so that you understand, so that they can be heard. All this will be authentic. Can they be authentically Afro depression? So
there's Afro nursery rhymes too.
Advice.
No, but to be honest, yes, I can't lie. There's no formula. There's nothing you should focus on. I mean, everybody was on Afro depression, and then Afro nursery rhymes came out. Charlie Poppy, everybody is, singing Charlie Poppy. You can't. It's very hard for you to really tell what works. I feel like every time it's just there's a different sound for every season. So I think as an artist, you should try and like it's the same way in America, yeah, and in England, where they know this is the type of record to put out if we're trying to get a summer hit. This is the type of record. It's like Mariah Carey every year. Right now, she's already topping the charts. Her Christmas songs have come out. They're already topping the charts. You know, so it's like we should always try and know. For me, I feel like in Nigeria, towards this end of the year, it is Afro enjoyment. Because if you bring out any Afro depression, you might not bang. Everybody wants to dance. You know, any music that you bring out around this towards end of the year, this last quarter, it has to be club bangers, heavy, you know, heavy bass that you know that every DJ wants to play it in the peak period in the club or in the party. They want to play that song in the peak period. You don't want to put out music that DJ will used to start the party or end the party. You know, so you have to like watch the times where you put out music and see, okay, look, maybe January, end of January, February, March, you put out like Afro depression kind of music, like, you know, calm you down. And we don't really have a summer here. It's like most people travel. But we don't really have summer here. But like maybe them July times, you can give them Afro-Adura style music. And then, yeah, Shea Vibes, Ashake, and all these guys. Yeah, for me, that's it, man. Because there's really no formula and say this is what you should be making. You know, and that's why even if you notice, like Omale, his team have realized they don't drop every time. You know, they don't drop every time. And the reason why they dropped this Holy Ghost song is they're trying to push in Europe. Omale hasn't really been strong in Europe. And Europe is going to winter. Everybody wants that chill, glam vibes. People are not really going out. You have to give them music people are listening to in the house. Because for a lot of our big guys, let's be real with ourselves, a lot of our big guys aren't really fully Nigerian artists anymore. They're more global artists now. So they have global fans. They have to now start thinking of their fans everywhere around the world. So they have to know that, okay, look, this is the market I'm focusing on. What kind of music should I be putting out in this season that will apply to this market that I'm trying to get into? So that's just what I feel.
Let me just piggyback on that real quick. So I'm going to come from the marketing and commercial perspective. Regardless the genre, whether it's country, Afro, depression, hip-hop, whatever, one thing that always works is the overarching emotional sentiment that your audience is dealing with at the time. Today, we look at the United States as this super powerful military establishment. You know, they can take over space, whatever. The birthplace of this ideology happened after the Vietnam War. If you do your research and you have the fact, you know they whooped the asses of the United States in Vietnam. They lost that war. And to redeem their image and position themselves as a world power, what they did, because the Americans were disenfranchised, they hated the vets that were coming back from Vietnam. What the American government did was that they started funding Hollywood to create, that's where you now had all the Rambo, Commando, all this fun, one man waste 1,000 people, bullets, no, they finish XYZ. And people could relate with that. And it's also something that I've seen work in music. Now there's an economic crisis. If you want to talk about balling, only you will chop that your balling music. But if people can relate at a very core level to the sentiment behind your music, it doesn't necessarily matter the genre, you will see things pick up. It has worked for the like of Timaya, for instance. It worked for Davido incredibly well to his last album, which came from a very, very emotional place because people could relate with that. You know, so as creatives, we tend to have serious tunnel vision. We don't think about the business. If you cannot be accountable to think about the business part of things, have an A&R or a very real friend that will tell you as it is. But, you know, have your ear on the emotional sentiment, you know, that is in the market that your audience is consuming at the time. And that is, you know, it will literally take you 50% there, from my opinion.
Sorry, and also, like, you know, earlier on, like Tokwe said, it's like one thing you realize is that a lot of young creatives don't build a team. You know, everybody feels that, I don't want to pay anybody, or I can't afford to pay anybody, I'm doing it on my own. or most times you see a lot of them trying to reach out to, like I get mail DMs and things from different people. Baba, I'm looking up to you. You're the one that is going to manage me. But you might be shocked that your manager might be that your guy that's next to you. Like if when Davido was coming up, if he didn't look at Asa and he was looking at, say, who was the big managers then? Maybe like a Sunday Array or Efe. Then and saying, these are the guys, because they've done Two-Face, they must do me. He might not have been where he is today, but he saw Asa, young guy, this guy is active, let's go together, we can grow together. Like you need to start, even for lawyers as well, maybe find your friend who's like studying law at the university and say, look, come help me or help me review contracts. But, before we go to a big lawyer that we can afford, at least help me review it. And then maybe we'll now go to a big lawyer. Because sometimes these people, they don't joke. For every time they read something, they must pay them. So maybe talk to your friend first. Okay, your panel don't pass. Now we talk.
Sit down there. Sit down there. So guys, honestly, I want to end here because we can't go on. I want to see that globalization is the democracy of technology economy. It means that it can be done. I was in the meeting last week with some guys, and they want to pay Nai Wasabi a lot of money. A lot of money. Lawyer.
The law.
A lot of money. My dear. Sit down. Okay. And this guy did it from what? His phone. The cost of Nai Wasabi is 0 what? Is 0 naira. Just what? Creativity. Just what? Creativity. So as much as we've spoken about the technical part, build a team, algorithms, optimize, please, you are a creative. Try to understand that one thing can change the game for you forever. Please put your hands together for this amazing people. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Let's take a picture. Thank you so much.